Mm, well, today I was going to talk about ssris. I'll wait a second and see if anyone comes in the room. If not, I'll go ahead and get it going. Okay, well, so ssris are a pretty crazy subject to me. I've seen a couple of people that were very close to me be somewhat, I guess, test dummies. Hello, FBB and Gina. Thanks for coming. So, ssris are drugs that are used as antidepressants in the treatment of major depression disorders and anxiety disorders. Okay? So, I put some of the main ones on the screen. So, let's talk about the side effects that they have. Okay? So, Leprexo, and a lot of these have the same side effects, but it's kind of crazy that the side effects are worse than the actual ailment. So Leprexo has side effects of flu-like symptoms, and you'll notice that a lot of these give you flu-like symptoms. Leprexo will change your sex drive or the function of your sexual organs. It causes drowsiness. It causes unusual sweating, dizziness, and heartburn. Okay, so yeah, I bet they did, Gina. I went to the doctor once for heart issues, and they actually tried to put me on Prozac. Hello, Rose. Thank you for coming. Um, they said that I needed a happy pill, which didn't make any sense to me at all. I was there for heart, problems and palpitations, not anxiety or depression. Okay, so another big one is Zoloft. Okay, so Zoloft causes sleepiness and drowsiness. It makes one very tired. It can also lead to nervousness and insomnia, dizziness, nausea, and skin rashes. Hello, Nathan. Hello, Chris. Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it. Why did Nightbot time out Gina? Oh, it's the caps. Sorry about that, Gina. Don't use all caps. Okay, so another one is Effexor, which causes dizziness, drowsiness, anxiousness, nervousness. But hold on, isn't that the stuff it's supposed to be treating? Anxiety? It also can cause insomnia. It can cause changes in your vision. Again, with the flu-like symptoms, the nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. It can cause weight changes, extremely dry mouth, constant sweating, agitation. You lose loss of interest, Again, the decreased sex drive and really an overall feeling of worthlessness. Hey, Lev, thanks for coming. But those are the things that they're supposed to be treating, right? The nervousness and anxiety and the depression. So it's kind of crazy that you take something to treat an ailment and yet you turn around and get worse ailments. Another huge one here. Let me give you a wrench, Gina. That'll probably protect you from my vicious nightbot. I apologize about that. So Cymbalta, that's another huge one that I've heard about. It causes nausea, dry mouth, sleeplessness, but in some it can cause fatigue, loss of appetite, and heavy sweating. You're welcome, Gina. Another huge one that's all over, and people take it legally and illegally, is Xanax. So Xanax has been a huge problem around my city, and a lot of the youth that my children are friends with end up taking Xanax, not prescribed, and they're becoming addicted to this drug. So Xanax is a sedative. It can actually cause paranoia, suicidal ideation, impair the memory and judgment. It can throw off your coordination. It can slow down your breathing and actually lead to death. Also, these young people that are taking it, they take it and it's not prescribed to them, so they don't always have it. When they come away from these drugs, their suicidal thoughts get worse. Yeah, Wellbutrin. Yeah, I had a friend who took Wellbutrin, and she had to request to be taken off of it because she had a boyfriend who was younger than her, and it absolutely killed her sex drive. You know, there's a lot of side effects to these pills that they don't tell us. So Prozac is supposed to be a pill, they call it a happy pill, but it can cause sleep problems, very strange dreams, headaches, dizziness, vision changes, tremors, shaking, an overall feeling of being anxious and nervous. It can cause pain, weakness, and extreme fatigue also. You know, these side effects, again, they're worse than the actual ailment, and sometimes they actually intensify the original problem. So Luvox will actually cause a new or worse depression. But that's what we're taking, you know, not we, but a lot of people are taking these pills to stop their depression, and yet they're making their depression worse. This is all by design. It has the same flu-like symptoms as the rest. It also can cause extreme worrying, thoughts of harming yourself, panic attacks, agitation, having difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, being aggressive, and having an overall feeling of restlessness. So that's Luvox. I agree, FPV, nature plants and herbs can fix us. Gina, I have what I call the chemtrail flu or the GMO plant flu. I'm constantly congested. They're constantly spraying us. I haven't seen the sun in 5 days. Thanks for coming, Rose. I appreciate it. Yeah, I breathe a lot of funk, at my job, and then, like I said, we haven't seen the sun in 5 days. It looks like it maybe wants to peak today, but it's not out yet, so. Yeah, it could be fake foods. Hey, Blood, thanks for coming. Appreciate it a lot. Another one is Paxil. So, Paxil, of course, has the same flu symptoms as the rest. It's always the nausea, vomiting. Paxil can also lead to impotence in men. It can lead to agitation and restlessness, impulsiveness. It has shown signs of hyperactivity, tremors, and memory problems in the people that take this. The next one is Hadesla. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it can lead to dizziness, drowsiness, sweating, the same flu-like symptoms, insomnia, and impotence. Are you seeing a trend here? Because I am. Pristique has the same flu symptoms, insomnia, anxiety, and impotence. I noticed that a lot of them have the anxiety as a side effect, but that's what people take them for, is the anxiety. The last one I looked up side effects, because they pretty much are all the same side effects, would be the Fetzima. Again, there's the flu-like symptoms, increased heart rate, or it can slow the heart rate. It can lead to heart palpitations and erectile dysfunction. You know, to me, it seems that these pills, I would rather deal with the ailment than some of the side effects. You know, and if you think you get enough of the men, our population on these pills, and these pills are leading to impotence, well, that's going to really lead to a decrease in, population. Attention disorder. Well, as for the ADD, one of my daughters lived with her father, and he got her on those medications as much as I protested it. The other daughter stayed with me for the majority of the life, and my older one went to live with her dad because they just kind of got on better. They had a similar personality, so he ended up putting her on lots of medicines, and they were for attention deficit disorder, which I disagree. I think that's a made-up ailment. Kids are going to be kids. They're going to be hyper. They're going to run around like crazy a lot of times. That's what kids do. So then they ended up putting her on more medications to counteract some of the effects of the original medication. And then they ended up giving her things to amplify the medications. So what I watched is her, be pulled in all kinds of different directions with her emotions. Then they hit a certain age and they want to remove them from the drugs. Suddenly, they say they don't need them anymore. So then they're left without the drugs that they've become addicted to, which leads to more problems. It leads to people wanting to commit suicide. It leads to people wanting to, just cause self-harm to themselves. So why does this matter? Well, it matters to me a lot. In the US alone, there are 84.3% of adults filling 3 or more prescriptions for these psychiatric drugs. And not only that, but they've reported that they've been taking them for at least 2 years. Okay? This is what these doctors are doing to us and our population. They're just drugging everyone with side effects that are worse than the original ailment. Not only that, but 500,000 children have been reported to be put on these psychiatric drugs. 500,000. These are children. How do you think that affects their development of their brain and their brain chemistries? Well, it doesn't do them well. A lot of these children end up being children that harm themselves, cut themselves. When they take them away, they end up turning to other drugs, street drugs, to try to fill the void and get that feeling of pretty much dazedness and, walking around high all the time. If these things are causing drowsiness and dizziness and all this stuff, those are similar effects that these street drugs also give. So then we end up with a whole lot of children that are strung out on street drugs, and it's pretty much to fill the void of the prescription drugs they were given for their whole life. Hello, Indian YouTuber. Thank you for coming. So, also, a statistic is about 128,000 people die a year from prescription drugs. These prescription drugs. I agree, FPV. They invented over 300 mental disorders, which are probably caused by their drugs. I agree 100%. These drugs are no good. Avoid them at all costs, and do not let your children have them. So 128,000 people a year die from these prescription drugs. That's a lot of people. And the leading cause of these deaths were stroke, right? So these drugs are making our hearts weak. Just like a lot of other drugs that we have heard, that they're giving out for different cancers and stuff. The drugs are weakening our bodies, our organs, and our hearts. These doctors are basically making everyone test dummies that they're trying this on, and they're like, here, try this. Oh, that didn't work? Try this. Oh, you have that side effect? Here, take this with this. Here, let's make a nice chemical concoction for you to take in the morning, afternoon, and night. Keep you very well drugged. And, then you won't be sad anymore. They are attacking the elements. They're attacking our chemicals. They're changing our chemicals. And, each of us have different chemical makeups of our bodies. It probably depends on our DNA, our blood types, the foods we eat. And then we start adding all these different prescription drugs into that mix, and it's a deadly concoction. That's what it is. We're just test dummies. The ones that are taking these, they're huge test dummies. My aunt took a lot of psychiatric drugs, and for years and years, they tested different pills on her. A few times they even told her, this has not been FDA tested. We're testing it on patients. And, the side effects were kind of devastating to her. I watched her almost commit suicide 3 times. Once her daughter actually walked in and found her on the floor. She had to be admitted into psychiatric units the 3 times. And when she ended up passing away, her entire body was riddled with cancer. You know, it really makes you wonder, what is their goal? You know, is it to wipe us out, or is it to zombify us, or both? So, suicide rates are also growing along with these prescription drug uses. Okay? Now, we all, I know, have heard about the different suicides going on, and, you know, different children that want to harm themselves. They call them cutters, you know. So 80% of the people in the last decade that have attempted suicide are actually shown to be on these drugs. But this is what the drugs are supposed to be preventing, is suicide feelings and anxiety. So the number of live stream suicides rose, school shootings have risen, and these are being performed after being administered these drugs, these same drugs that they say are supposed to get rid of your anxiety and depressions. So 41% of the 80% of these people were women, and they had begun these drugs within the last year of their life leading up to their suicide or their suicide attempt. So, not even to mention these people not enjoying the effects, and they just stopped taking the medication. And it even showed signs of when they were tapered off the medication, where they decrease it little by little. And a lot of these people have also shown signs of leading to suicide and homicide. Okay? And what they're associating this with is the impulsiveness that these pills make people feel. And some of these effects were long after the drug was even detectable in their blood anymore. So these pills have a long-term effect. I agree, Gina. I bet you that a lot of this may lead to Alzheimer's. I watched my aunt deteriorate greatly, all the different drugs. She got to a point where she could barely move. Her muscles were affected, and her nerves were in pain all the time. Like I said, she was kind of a test dummy. You know, she didn't have a lot of money, and she lived, you know, on state pay and had the United States Medical Assistance Card. And, you know, in a way, I think that takes away our right to have proper treatment. You know, it's easier to make someone a test dummy that no one really gives a crap about than it is people that are adored at their jobs and have their very good insurance. And there's your key, insurance. You know, people that are actually paying for their insurance get better care than people who are getting their medical for free in the United States. So, So, what we need to do really is get to the root of these problems, you know. Yep, share and make aware. Dementia horror figures. I can't click that right now, but I will after the stream is over. So, we need to be aware of the factors that are just causing the problems with us in the first place, rather than run off to our doctor and take these insane drugs that are making everything worse. We should look into more natural remedies. So there's definitely foods that we can eat, and each person is going to be a little different. We definitely need to look at, our DNA and blood types, and different foods and vitamins can make us feel better without taking these prescription drugs. A big factor is wintertime, believe it or not, the sun. Having our vitamin D can make us put us into a depression. They have seasonal depression in some areas, and that's because the sun diminishes for lengths of time during the winter. During those times, it's highly suggested that people try to take vitamin D and get enough vitamin D in their bodies so that they don't fall into these depressions and need these drugs. One on the list called Sinequan. Well, that's a huge one here in the United States that they would administer in prisons to basically anyone that would ask for it. And what it did is it pretty much makes them walking zombies. They would fall asleep standing up in a line, drool down themselves. That's a good way for them to control the prisoners, calm down the tone, I guess, and the mood. But is that okay with us? I mean, just because people make a mistake, that it's okay to completely destroy their chemical balance? I mean, it's not okay with me. And I'm not defending all prisoners, so don't take it like that. What I'm defending is human life. Our right to live and not be drugged, not be zombified, not be poisoned. Yeah, FPV's got it right. All this is caused by chemtrails, GMO foods, fake meds, poisoned waters, and vaccines. I've done several live streams on these subjects, and they're all leading me to the same conclusion. They want us either zombified, dumbed down, or wiped out. So, the best thing that I can really say is that we all really need to research what the heck are these doctors doing, and we need to start asking questions why. And if you choose to take these ssris, to each our own, that is our choice. But again, just like the vaccines, make up a document and make the doctors themselves sign off that if any of these effects are shown in the person that was being administered these drugs, the doctors themselves will be held responsible. Yeah, doctors are not here to fix us. They work for the insurance, they work for the globalists. I've seen very, very few good doctors anymore. Most of them are following the regimen handed out to them by the insurance companies. If you need certain tests to see if things are wrong with you, if the insurance doesn't approve it, you don't get that test. So the ailment will continue. But you know what I bet they wouldn't protest? They probably wouldn't protest giving you these ssris. They hand this stuff out like it's candy. And they give you several of them to go ahead and mix and interact, and let's see what happens. If it doesn't work, let's try again. So this stream will probably be pretty short. The subject is going to take a lot more research, to look into every single individual drug, different doctors that are well known for administering them. What we do see in the limelight is a lot of these Hollywood stars. They suffer depression and anxiety. Of course, they're given these drugs, just like everyone else. They're given as much of these drugs as they want. They have money. They'll pay their doctors to get more. And it pushes them over the edge, A lot of them end up committing suicide. Seems to be a huge trend in our world now, suicide. And that's funny because all these people, 84% of adults are on these drugs. But yet suicide rates are rising, especially in younger people. And the suicide rates that are rising, they are being administered these drugs. So how do we stop it? Well, we educate people. We educate people and we protest. We protest against these people that call themselves doctors, that took an oath to look out for our health and well-being, and we start holding them responsible. If they're going to be doctors, they need to be doctors and not listen to the insurance companies. The insurance companies are not doctors. They are simply a corporation out for the bottom line, making money, and how much profit they can get. They're all in cahoots with Big Pharma. These doctors are now ran by Big Pharma. So yeah, do some research and try to spread the truth. And I think on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up today. I want to thank everybody for coming. Okay. And have a good day. Thanks a lot.